Hello again, everyone. It's been a little while since I've done any kind of favorites video, really, but this is going to be a recent watercolor favorites. I will start with the newest first, and then I'll go down to the other sets. I only have 3 sets here that I'm pulling from, and these are colors that, first off, like, these new colors are just amazing. I love them. But the other colors are colors that I find myself searching for and going back to again and again, not necessarily in the context of these sets, but I do go back to them quite a bit. When I want a particular color, I'm like, oh, where is that such and such a color? So I'll be showing you what those are. All right, and I'm going to be using this Canson watercolor book here, 10 by 7. And this is the new swatch book. It's okay. I don't think I like the paper as much as the Pentalic field book, which was the sort of the standard book that I was using, but it does fine. It does fine. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in so that we can have this front and center. I have a pot of water over here on a dirty paper towel as usual. And then I'm going to be using this Jackson's quill brush in a size 10/0. I've been using this quite a bit and it seems to be like holding up great. And I'm always kind of surprised by how much I like it when I go back to it. So I just thought I'd use it today just because it's what I had on my desk and I was using it for some other watercolor projects. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the most recent colors that I'm going to be showing you. And let me go ahead and open my water here. So that's ready to go. Well, let me show you the watercolors first. So these are Rockwell watercolors, which I have only gotten just recently, and they are a watercolor maker in Canada. And they had been on my list for a while, and I finally got them, and I've been using them. I've been using all of the colors, but there's 3 that I really keep going back to again and again. And I would say 2 of these 3 are like colors I don't know if I can live without in the future, which is kind of crazy whenever I get watercolors. So I will go ahead and show you what those are. The first one is not the one that I can never live without, but I love it, which, oh, and I should have wet these beforehand because these especially really benefit from lots of water. I'll add water. So this first one is called Tree Sprite. This might actually work okay. This brush actually holds quite a bit of water, and I will go ahead and add some drops of water there so we can see it develop. But this is a beautiful green. Even if it was just the green, I would love it. But there's an undercurrent of a little bit of purple in here, which you can see coming out as it dries. Like here's kind of the purple tone, as you can see. And then there's some more purple around the edges, and where I added water, it's more green. It's just such a lovely color. I don't have the tubes in front of me, so I don't remember what the color pigments are in here, but what I will do is I will put a link down below to Rockwell watercolor so that you can find these if you want. I've been really impressed with them just because, you know, I do like some interesting watercolor that isn't just, you know, your standard translucent watercolor. These are both granulating and color separating, which is pretty darn cool. And as you see them here working, it's like it's transforming before your eyes. So it's pretty darn cool. All right. So the next color, and one of the colors that I would have a hard time doing without at this point, I think, is this yellow or opal yellow. Okay. And I'm going to rinse off the brush and then put a couple of drops of clean water in there as well. So let's see how that goes. So this one is more, it's not as color separating as this one is. It's more of sort of like, even though it calls itself opal yellow, it's really kind of a dirty green, like a yellow leaning green. And as you'll see in my color choices today, it is really a dirty green is kind of what I've really been liking lately. But this one's really cool. It's not really transforming yet, so let's go ahead and leave that there. But that is also one of my favorites. And then the one that I would say is my favorite of the favorites is this Magic Wizard, which is just such a gorgeous color. Actually, let me add a little bit more there. Such a gorgeous color. And again, this one is not necessarily so color shifty, but there is a really beautiful pink undertone in here that when it comes out, it is just so gorgeous. I'm hoping it'll come out a little bit with the water that I added there. And here, I think you can, for this yellow or yeah, the opal yellow, you're really seeing more granulation where there's a darker color, it may even be black, is separating from the yellow. And together they kind of make that green, which is really, really nice. All right, so those are the Rockwell. And you know, all the others that I have as well are really awesome. Elf Wings, Cosmic Sound, God's Back, Deep Soul, Angel Eyes, Lapis Brown, Morai Witch. Morai Witch is also really fun, but I haven't been using it enough to call it my favorite. These three have been sort of my go-tos. I mean, look at that. Okay, let me get this closer to the camera. I mean, this color is just amazing. It doesn't even come off on the camera as well as it does in person. Just that separation is just so darn cool. And you can kind of see, I mean, maybe it's not coming off so well on the camera, but I can see a little bit of a pink halo around here, which is just, it's just amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and go on. I'm going to stop fawning about the Rockwell colors, but if I were to get just one color from them, I would get this one. And you know, now that I'm looking at them, if I were to get just two colors, this is pretty similar to Dusk Yellow from Rembrandt. It's probably why I like it so much. But if I were just to get two from them, I would probably get these two. Tree Sprite and Magic Wizard. Those would be the two that I would get. All right, so let's go ahead and go on. And these next ones are older colors that you've probably seen me use on the channel before, but they've been go-tos lately. I don't know if I've shown this one or not. So this is, we've got a couple of greens in here. It's going to be these two. And this is, let me start a new row, Cobalt Green by Core. And I'm going to get actually a little bit more pigment. Again, I did not wet these beforehand, which I probably should have done. But Cobalt Green, so this is another example of really a super granulating pigment. And Core is not necessarily known for granulation. So this is a bit of an anomaly for Core, but this one in particular is so pretty. Other brands do have cobalt green. In fact, Schmincke makes a nice cobalt green as well, but this one in particular is just really pretty, I think. Plus it has the Core ingredient, whatever that is, that makes it flow really well. So it has that feature as well. So the next green that I'm going to is Daniel Smith's Prussian Green. So this is a color that I kind of got on a whim and didn't use very much. Actually, I need some more color and water there. That I didn't use very much, and then lately I've been going to it much more. And it's just a really beautiful bluish green. And I actually think it's two pigments. It's not a single pigment paint, but it's just a really beautiful color. I think this would be really nice for like a dark ocean color. Yeah, that would be really cool. And then you'd have maybe moss next to the ocean, and they would be these two colors. Yeah, these are really awesome colors. All right, so that's all I have out of I don't think this is all Daniel Smith, but it's a lot Daniel Smith. And that's from that palette. I'm going to put that off to the side. Hopefully these won't all slide around. And then I have my, well, it's kind of my messy sheet here. Then I have my little watercolor palette. It's not that little actually, that I use as sort of my desktop palette. And this has been getting a lot of dog fur on it because it doesn't have any kind of cover. And that's a little bit of a drag, but I do keep it in a box in my room here. So it does stay fairly protected. All right, so the two colors here, one of these you'd probably recognize pretty easily. It's just two from this one. One is, let's see, what brand is that? It's Rembrandt's Greenish Umber, which again is a really nice, sorry, is a really nice earthy tone. And again, I need to add more water to that and get more pigment. But it's just such a nice dirty color, in my opinion. Actually, you know what I didn't do for these others is, that is just gonna be the color of that color I just got because there was still some of that. Oh no. Okay, let's do that swatch again. Sorry. I'm not too whippet today. It's the end of my week, so kind of tired. That's gonna be a more even swatch there. But let me go ahead and wipe off that brush a little bit more and put, it's probably a little late for these to put the water on, but we'll see what that does. Might show you some additional color in there. And actually, let me go ahead and, because it's not too late for that one, put some dots there. All right, and the other one that I just keep going back to again and again is Glacier Green by Schmincke. It's in one of the super granulation sets. And I use this so much, and I actually have a couple of pans that I made with it. And in one palette, I couldn't remember what the color was that I had put in there. And then when I looked it up, it was this one, and I had been using, I'm gonna say using the hell out of it, but that's true. I have been using the hell out of it. And again, so a lot of the super granulation sets are color separating, kind of like these, but this is more, I mean, it's kind of a one color deal, but it does granulate really nice. And it's just so useful for all kinds of things. And it actually makes a great mixing color. You know, I am really curious because these are kind of at the opposite ends of the color wheel, this blue and orange. So I'm going to see how those blend. Actually, let me put this Daniel Smith palette aside. But you can definitely see I'm going for kind of the earthy colors here. I mean, even this one, even though it's fairly bright, I would still call it sort of an earthy color. All right, so let me put down, what should I put down first? Let me put down the Glacier Green first, because this is a pretty saturated color. That's another reason why I like it. You just kind of need to touch it and you get a lot of it. Same with this Magic Wand or Magic Wizard color. Okay. All right, that's like sheer magic, you guys. That is a beautiful brownish green. I think if I added a little bit more of the Glacier Green, we would just have some really beautiful stuff going on. And let me actually add a couple of drops of this in there too. I mean, look at that. That's amazing. Love it. All right, so that's all I had to show you today is these colors. And obviously, yeah, this was way too late to put the water on these two because they're not really doing anything, especially with this one, which is kind of interesting because it hasn't even, I mean, maybe if I lift it, it will, but it hardly made a dent at all in the color, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm kind of gonna stay here for a little while and see what happens with this guy. It's just, you've got two really seriously granulating colors, and then you essentially have, I mean, this is a mix too, but you essentially have like the pink and the orange over here with the magic wizard, and then you have this really light bluish green, and then you get a lot of color separation from that. I mean, you've got some orange on the outside there, and then you've got some really nice texture going on. This would probably be really nice for some sort of natural landscape, because I mean, those colors would work really well for that. So gorgeous. Oh, and you can see the pink coming through now. I don't know if you can, but I can see it like right in here. Yeah. And I don't know, you know, I don't know how they do color separating colors like that. And this, the pink never came out very much in here, and I can actually see it more here than I could in the original color. But if you dilute that out, actually, let's see if we can. Let me put a big puddle of water on the paper here. And then I'm just gonna drop that color in. And that's another thing, it just like blooms like crazy. Oh, and you can kind of see, yeah, you can see the pink. See, there's the pink coming out. Probably gonna leave it at that. Let's actually do that with the other two Rockwell colors, because I think, and this looks so boring now that it's out here on the paper, but it's a really great mixing color. Okay, so I'm gonna put another big puddle of water here. Last time I think I did 3 dips. And then let's go to this rock opal yellow. Rockwell, that is. Okay, so I think maybe I didn't add as much water here. So let's go ahead and add another drop on top. And here you can kind of see there's a little bit of blue coming out in there. And you've got like yellow, a little bit of green. Let me get that really close so you can see. Getting a little bit of reflection from the light, but it's just so cool. And here's that orange and pink. I mean, this has got to be my all-time favorite color of the year. And it's only the beginning of 2023. But yeah, that brought out a lot of the blue. And then let's do the same. And I mean, look at that. That's just gorgeous. I'm going to do the same for that tree sprite color. Let's really load it up and make sure we have a lot of water. I mean, stuff like this will take a little while to dry, but it's so worth it when you get these results. Okay. And it really does morph over time. I mean, you can see that one in the middle is, the blue is really coming out. And I think that's what was coming out for me when I was really appreciating the color. It just is really, really awesome. And then okay, I can kind of see that purple coming out a little bit, but I'm actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add like a really concentrated bit there so we can see what that does as opposed to. And really what I would do is I would do this and then I would leave it. Like, don't mess with it too much, because then you're gonna get, if you mess with it too much, you'll be mixing the color too much together. And that's probably what kind of happened with these swatches here. Because here, with this one, you can only see a little bit of the blue coming out, and here you can only see a little bit of the pink. But look, when you have all that water, it's just magic. And again, I apologize for the glare. Actually, let me turn that off for a second and see what we can see without that. There you go. That's actually not bad. And there you can see the color separating with the purple and the green. And then this mix, which is just divine. I may have to put the glacier green in a mix with this at some point. And you know, I've got a little more time. Let's, I'm gonna go ahead and put, what else do I have here? I have that, oops. I'm gonna do another little swatch like that with the greenish umber. It's obviously not going to have the same effect as the other colors, but you might get a little bit more of an interesting swatch there. And then I'm also gonna do just the plain glacier green with a lot of, okay, well we can't do it there then because I've tapped into that and that was still wet. Okay, so let me do that down here. And I mean, look at all that color that came off of there. Okay. And then let's add, God, that is such a saturated color. But I mean, look at that. That's almost like an abstract art all in its own. And you can actually see some of the pink coming out over here. That blue is really, really nice. Greenish umber, guys, is just not delivering as far as being really super exciting. Let's see. Let me get my other palette back. Do I have enough room? Yeah, I probably have enough room here to do the cobalt green like that. These will just be more granulating than anything else. They're not going to color separate, but it's really pretty. And then I'm gonna do one more way over here where I have a little bit of room, because I figured I did everything else. So let's do the Prussian green. And my suspicion is that we might actually get a little bit of color separation on the Prussian green. Let's see what we get. And I don't think we're gonna be able to stay here as long as these take to dry, but you're certainly gonna be able to see them developing. Because like this one, it's just really nice granulation. And you can kind of see like different blues in there, which is kind of cool. Here is that cobalt green. Here's that Prussian green. And I do think you can make out some more of the blue in there. But these three, totally the stars. I'm like completely blown away by them. And I will probably get more if and when I run out. You know, I have so many different watercolors. It'd probably take me a while to get through everything, but it is definitely, these are definitely good. And I'm actually wondering, what if we pull that out a little bit? What if we pull this out a little bit? I'm just interested to see what kind of colors pull out. Well, just with those three. But I mean, look at that beautiful granulation with this, is it ice green or Arctic green? Anyway, I think it's part of the Arctic set. So you could totally see how that could make icebergs or something. So anyway, fun with water. And with these, the more water, the better, I think. Except for this, you know, I guess that's the most boring one that I gave you today, the greenish umber. It's actually a great mixing color for toning down other colors. Let me actually illustrate that really quick. Let's see if I have any more room here. Let's go up here. And let's go again into the glacier green, because, you know, I love that. It's super strong. And then I'm going to go into the greenish umber. And I mean, look at that. That's like, it immediately turned it into a really interesting color. So more of a mixing color than on its own, but the others are fabulous. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.